Look at that juicy turkey. Do you want white meat or dark meat? Do you know the difference between these? Well, white meat comes from the breasts of the turkey or the chicken, okay? And dark meat comes from the chicken's legs or thighs, okay? So for turkey and chicken, we use the words dark meat and white meat. Now, we also have red meat. Now, red meat comes from bigger animals like cows, pigs, sheep, okay? Now, do you know the names of the different kinds of meat? A lot of people say meat of pig or meat of cow. Okay, that's wrong. We have separate names for cow meat, pig meat, okay, and other kinds of meat. And in this lesson, I'm going to teach you what those words are. Okay, so first we have pork. Now, pork is a pig's meat. Okay, so if you don't eat pork, you could say, I don't eat pork. Now, pork is the general word for a pig's meat, but we have different kinds of pork. For example, this is a ham. Now, we often eat ham at special occasions like Christmas or Thanksgiving. Now, ham comes from the back leg of the pig, okay, and we can eat it hot or cold. Usually at special occasions like Christmas, we eat it hot. So, you'll pull a nice ham out of the oven. It's about this big, and then you'll cut it up into slices. And usually we also eat turkey for Christmas or Thanksgiving, okay? But you can also eat this cold, especially on sandwiches, okay? So you would slice yourself a slice of ham, put it on a sandwich with some tomatoes and lettuce and maybe some mustard, some salt and pepper. Eat yourself a ham sandwich. Okay, now bacon is also pork. So bacon is very common for breakfast. Here in Canada and the US, this is one of the most common breakfast foods, bacon and eggs. You fry up the bacon and eggs in a pan, or on most hamburgers. Like a lot of hamburgers from McDonald's or A&W, Burger King, they'll have bacon on the hamburger. Okay, now pork can also be in a pork chop. Okay, this is called a pork chop. It's basically like a steak, except we don't use the word steak with pork. We use the word pork chop. Okay, steak comes from a cow, and steak is beef. So the most common ways to eat beef are either in a steak or ground beef. Ground beef. Okay, like if you're making tacos, you will fry up some ground beef to put in the tacos. Okay, so beef comes from cows. Now, sheep meat can be called lamb or mutton. Now, a lamb is a baby sheep. Okay, so if the sheep is under 1 year old, it's called a lamb. And a lamb's meat is called lamb. But if the lamb is more than a year old, it's called a sheep. Okay, and the sheep's meat is called mutton. So basically lamb and mutton are the same things. Okay, now with a goat, we would use the word goat meat or just goat. Okay, so you could say, I love goat. That means you're talking about the meat. I love goat meat. Okay, now chicken is just chicken, the same name for the meat and the animal. Now, chickens are obviously really popular animals to eat. So we have a lot of different parts of the chicken that we eat. Okay, for example, wings. Wings are a really common thing to eat if you're at a bar or a pub. If you go out with your friends to a bar or a pub and you watch some sporting event on TV, you're probably going to order pizza, beer, and wings. They're one of the most common foods here in Canada and the US. Okay, now here we have some chicken. breasts, the breasts of the animal. And we have the leg. Now the leg is called a drumstick. Drumstick. So if you go to KFC or other restaurants that sell chicken, you might order yourself a bucket of drumsticks. Okay, now drumsticks are brown meat, remember. Or we can use brown meat or dark meat. Both those terms mean the same thing. White meat or light meat, brown meat, dark meat. Okay, now here you can see the drumstick attached to the thigh. Okay, humans also have thighs. Your upper leg is called your thigh. Okay, now this one's easy. A turkey has turkey meat. Okay, the meat of a turkey is just called turkey. So turkey is a very common meat, especially in the US and Canada, for putting on sandwiches. You have a turkey sandwich. Or, like I said, for Christmas or Thanksgiving, usually we cook up a turkey. Okay, now fish is the same. The meat of a fish is just called fish, so it's easy to remember. Okay, now an important thing I want you to remember when we're talking about these kinds of meat is that we don't use articles with these words. Okay, so you'd say, I like eating lamb, not I like eating the lamb. Okay, I like pork, I like beef, I like chicken, I like fish. We don't use articles when we use these words. Okay, now that's important because it can cause some miscommunications if you get it wrong. Okay, like look at these two sentences. I love lobster, I love lobsters. There's a big difference in meaning between these two sentences. Okay, if I say I love lobsters, that means I like the animal. Maybe I have some lobsters as pets in my house. Okay, but if I say I love lobster, that means I love eating lobsters. I love the meat of the lobster. Okay, so those are some pretty big differences in meaning when you say these. For example, if you invite me to your house for a meal and you want to serve lobster and you ask me, do you like lobster? If I say, I love lobsters, then you might think, oh no, he loves the animal. Maybe we shouldn't serve lobster. Okay, but if I say I love lobster, then you would know that I love the meat of the lobster. Then you would feel okay serving me lobster. Okay, so there can be a little bit of confusion between these two sentences. Okay, so I want to know, do you have separate names for animal meat in your language? Or do you just say cow meat, pig meat, fish meat? Or do you have it like English where you have a separate word for the names of the meat? Let me know down there in the comments, and I'll see you over in the next episode of Mad English TV. Take care.